see anywhere. Corona bo and feature here. Why see anywhere? Corona bo and feature here. Why see anywhere? Corona bo and temper. Asuanya yam shishia. Bisashisha power of my nia. You bet me, dear boy, who buy a free heroin. A woman, I'm no man to our water. Now, so city, yes, in a furbo. What you fear now, so a juma. Nanya only baby dance or Becca sing me. I'll call down Tama on your manio. Yamoya, who buy. Won't call here or money. Ah, bo, bay, or papa. Prevention is better than and qua a body. Second to 20 or by here. A bright Rodney. Prevention is better than a bright Cabomini. Yan do or money. Spread come not fear. Avoid stigmatization. Ghana man, ya come on, ya come on, ya come on. I will need the party here. We say I'm calling you. Yes, Koro Israel, oh, Yamoya, ba, won't come here or money, bo, by or mambapa.
Hope Channel, changing lives.
Welcome you to another exciting episode of Real Talk. Today's show is a very special one. It's different from all the other shows that we've had. You'll see in just a moment how special today's show is. Today I have amazing panelists with me as usual who are going to help me discuss a topic. We do not have a story for you today, but we do have a topic. You know, if all things had been equal, last weekend we would have been at Anakazo for the young adult retreat, but with the pandemic on our hands, we weren't able to do that. But join us for a live version of that right here at the studio, Real Talk on Hope TV. And today we are looking at a very interesting topic, a topic that I'm sure most young adults probably have gone through, probably have experienced either directly or indirectly. And this is fleeing from abuse and dealing with heartbreaks in a relationship. We have an amazing pastor with us, that is Pastor George Zukagbe, who will be helping us talk about this topic. We have Kweku, who is not a stranger. I'd like you to have a little chat with them. Pastor George Kuzagbe. Please, what's the meaning of your last name? I would like to know.
Yeah, that name is pregnant with so much meanings. In fact, literally, you can say funeral birthday.
Interesting.
Exactly.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, it was given to me by my late father when he was about burying the father.
Oh, okay.
So I was the last grandson to be born just after the demise of his father.
Oh.
That happens to be my late grandfather.
Oh, okay.
Hence, that name was given to me.
Yeah, it definitely has a deep meaning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
You're welcome.
I'm very grateful to have you on the show.
We thank God for the privilege.
And then we have Kweku. Kweku, how are you?
Hey, God's
You know, your frontline worker in this pandemic. How have you been dealing? Are you seeing cases? Like, is it as scary as you're seeing on the news? What's happening? Give us
hopefully by June we'll still be alive. That's all I can say.
Amen. Amen.
Just
Amen.
hope for the best and make sure that with our prayers, a vaccine will be found in no time.
Yeah.
Or maybe treatment for the COVID.
Maybe.
But so far we are receiving interesting news. There are a lot of research which is going on and we hope for the best.
Okay. But how are you protecting yourself? Are you okay? Are you safe?
It's not the best. It's not the best, but we are trying our best. Okay. At least the hospitals have devised their own protocols. So I can say for my hospital, what we do is that before you enter into the yard, we do the basic temperature checks. You have Veronica buckets at various points at the hospital where you have to wash your hand before you attend to the main OPD hallway. Compulsory wearing of face masks.
Okay.
Yeah, so when you get there too, in the consulting rooms too, we try our best to place the patient seats in such a way that at least the social distancing is maintained. Yeah. And unnecessary, gone are the days you could just walk into the hospital and come there with a normal rush.
Right.
Now we are trying our best not to entertain that. Yes, because we try our best to decongest the OPD hallway as much as we can. Right. But I know with God, all things will be okay.
With God, all things will be possible. You see, you've been on this show before. We usually have 3 guests, including myself, 4. We are also trying to practice social distancing. Okay. So today we have just 2 and then myself. So in our own little way, as a frontline worker, I can see we are trying our best.
Anyway.
Thank you guys so much for coming on the show. We'll take a look at our topic. Pastor will do a presentation on it for us. And we have amazing guests with us today who are joining us via Zoom. We have Daniel and Adobe Alabi. We have Yaba. We have Rismond. We have Chumi. We have Toka. Toka, this is your name. Yes, we do have Toka, and then we have Emilia. These guys were at the Young Adults Retreat last year, and I'm sure they are missing it this year, but we are trying to have a great experience with you in the studio. So you guys will join us later with your comments and questions when we come back. But another interesting fact, last year, Daniel and Adobia were at the retreat, and now they are joining us as a married couple. See how amazing that one is. So we'll give a clap to our honorary couples in the house today. Thank you guys for joining us so much. We are grateful, and we'll go for a quick break. When we go for that break, we'll take a look at what happened at the Young Adults Retreat last year. And when we come back, Pastor will give a presentation on our topic, which is fleeing from abuse and dealing with heartbreaks in a relationship. We'll be right back. This is Real Talk. Do not go anywhere. And my name is Evie. quick break. Before we went on the break, I introduced you to my panelists. We have Pastor George, we have Kweku, who will be helping us discuss the story in the studio. And then out of the studio via Zoom, we have Mr. and Mrs. Nine, we have Rosemond, we have Chumi, we have Toka, we have Emilia, and then we have Yaba, who would also be sending us their questions and comments as the discussion goes on. So, like I mentioned, this is a program for the young adults in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and unfortunately we couldn't go for a retreat this year, but we are doing it in the way, the style we do it here at Real Talk. We are bringing you live experience with our pastor who will be helping us discuss the topic I mentioned, which is fleeing from abuse and dealing with heartbreaks in a relationship. So Pastor, I'll just come straight to you, please. This topic, as a young woman, I'm sure Kweku as a young man, we go through a lot of, we call it broken hearts and various forms of abuse. Sometimes we don't even know that we are going through it. So I'd like you to talk to us about it, give us all the apport we need to help us with our next relationship.
Thank you so very much. Once again, you're welcome to this very special program, The Real Talk. Tonight's topic is captioned, as our host said, fleeing from abuse and healing after a heartbreak in relationships. And that's how the outline of the presentation will be. We'll look at the definition of abuse, who is at risk of abuse, types of abuse we have, causes and effects of abuse. We'll look at the biblical perspective and the stand of the Seventh-day Adventist Church as far as abuse or violence is concerned. Then we'll look at the prevention on how to flee from abuse. Then the last aspect of the topic will be healings from broken heart and relationship.
Okay.
So we'll go straight to the definition of what abuse or violence is. The international use of physical force or power, threatened or actual, against oneself, another person or group or community, that either results in or has a high likelihood of resulting in injury, death, or psychological harm, maldevelopment, or deprivation, is how the World Health Organization defines abuse. It continues to say that abuse or violence occurs when one person uses violent or an intimidating behavior to control or dominate the other person, resulting in physical, sexual, or psychological damage, forced social isolation or economic deprivation, or behavior that leaves the victim living in constant fear. Abuse, in other words, is more than just an argument or a disagreement. It includes fear, control, domination, victimization, and even harm. It ends up having somebody being hurt. So the question is, who are those at the risk of being abused or receiving violence? We can easily say that abuse can happen to any person at any age. Simply put, everyone is at risk. But however, there are some people who are more prone to abuse than others. And so we have the children, women, or we have a special group, we call them the vulnerable adults. They are also prone to being abused. Types of abuse or violence we have in
Pastor,
our society.
Just a moment. You said vulnerable adults. Who are those people that fall in that category?
Yeah, vulnerable adult could be you, it could be myself, or it could be Kweku seated with me here. When we put ourselves in a position where we can easily be hurt, we term those group of people vulnerable adults.
Okay.
Yeah. One, we have physical abuse or violence. This involves the use of physical force to cause actual or likely physical injury or suffering to another person's body. It could be from hitting, pinching, hair pulling, arm twisting, strangling, stabbing, punching, pushing, slapping, beating, kicking, and so on and so forth. Another one you can also add could be murder. This all falls under what we call physical abuse or violence. Then we have what we call the emotional abuse. Now this involves humiliating and degrading treatment, such as bad name calling, constant criticism, belittling people, persistent shaming, and solitary confinement and isolation to hurt or disables a person's psyche. Examples could be blaming one's spouse and making them feel inadequate through your actions and inactions is an emotional abuse, and it is just as bad as the kind of abuse you can ever think of. Then we have sexual abuse, as we all know, which is very common and rampant. Any sexual act to which an adult does not freely give consent, or any sexual act with a child below the age of 18 could be termed sexual abuse. Example could be rape, sexual harassment, pedophilia, female genital mutilation, and so on and so forth. This all fall under sexual abuse.
Okay.
Then we also have another type of abuse we could call social abuse. That is hurting a person's social standing in the society or community in which he or she lives in. It could be verbal abuse in front of people, controlling behavior, and an act that tends to isolate a person from among his or her peers. These are all forms of social abuse. There are other forms of abuse that we hardly mention or talk about, but this very evening I would want to bring it to the attention of our cherished viewers. That is spiritual abuse or persecution. That is attacking the victim's beliefs, their faith, or their source of strength to maintain absolute control over them spiritually. We also have neglect. That is another form of abuse. Refusal to provide or meet the basic needs of people who are dependent on you. If it is in the family setting, the husband refuses to meet the needs of his family. This could be termed as another form of abuse. Then talking to young guys, of which I'm also a part, one very abuse that is ranging in and among us is cyberbullying. Cyberbullying. That is the use of digital technology to harass, threaten, humiliate, blackmail, and cause other kinds of harm to other people at the extreme end. We want to look at the causes of abuse in our society.
Yeah.
1, low self-esteem. This could be a way of abusing people. More often than not, people who have low self-esteem, because of the way they look down upon themselves, they tend to hurt or inflict pain on people who seems to be a little more better off than them in society, and it could be vice versa. So low self-esteem could be a cause of abuse.
Pastor, it's interesting you say that, because you would think that people would rather take advantage of the people who have the low self-esteem.
Yeah.
Never do we think that people who are hurting end up hurting others just because of how they feel.
Yeah, that's why I said it is vice versa.
Yeah.
Good. Then we have desire for control or power. The quest of power and control in our homes, our society, is so common to the extent that those who stand to be weakling, we intend to abuse them and to indeed take advantage of their vulnerability. So people's quest for power could be a cause of abuse in the society or in the family. Then we have low academic achievement and vice versa, as it is or patriarchal nature, what we normally call male chauvinism. You know, we live in a society where men are deemed as the head of the family. And so negatively or naively, they use that one as a weapon against those who are placed under them, and they abuse them. That should not have been the case anyway. Then we have one major cause of abuse, that's mental illness. Those who are suffering from mental illness stand the chance of abusing anyone who comes close to them. And those who are into substance abuse can also pose as danger to people who come around them. So these are some possible causes of abuse we have in our society.
Right. We seem to have a lot of causes, some very obvious, some not so obvious. And I'm sure people Kweku and myself and our people joining us on Zoom have a lot of questions, but I'll let you continue so that we'll jot. I'm writing my questions down. I can see Kweku is doing same. I hope you guys at home are also doing same. We'll be asking Pastor all our questions when he's done with his presentation.
Now, we want to look at the signs and symptoms of what abuse, things to look out for when somebody is being abused. Frequent bruises or physical injuries consistent with being punched, choked, knocked down in cases of what physical abuse. This could be signs and symptoms you could look out for when you have such things being inflicted on the bodies of what the people. This could be a sign. There are other signs of physical abuse which I would want to mention. That is black eyes. When you receive constant slap from somebody, you see that there is a dent on your eyes. That could be a sign to look out for. Then we have what? Busted lips, bruises on your lips. We have red or purple marks on your cheek. That is when you receive constant slaps, as I said earlier. Then you have what? Sprung wrist. You have bruises on the arms. Or that's when you receive lacerations or beatings from people. That could be a sign. There are other signs that you could also look out for. That is low self-esteem in people. People that you know very well to be outspoken, all of a sudden begins to be timid in society, become very reserved, and you are tempted to ask why. Maybe in one way or the other, they might be going through an abuse in one way or the other. Then people become extremely very apologetic and they are very meek. Sometimes people become very fearful. Changes in the sleep habit of people. Either they sleep too much or they have little rest. Then agitation, people become so anxious, anxiety or constant apprehension. Just a little noise, they become very apprehended, as if probably somebody is actually after them. These are signs and symptoms you could look out for. Then people begin to develop drug or alcoholic problems. Depression could be one sign to look out for. Loss of interest in daily activities. People become very reserved. They are no longer outgoing. When their groups, their colleagues are going, they tend to draw back and sit in their solitary moment. Those who once are very public figures begin to draw back and they enjoy solitary moments. These are signs you could look out for. Then they're talking about attempting suicide. There are some group of people who, more often than not, in their everyday conversation, talks about what committing suicide. We need to take our time and dig a little more to find out why those words, why those very comments. It could be a sign to look out for. Then we have behavioral changes in people. If you notice that someone who has once, as I said earlier, was once outgoing, cheerful, but gradually begins to be very quiet, begins to withdraw him or herself, it could be a sign of what he or she being abused in one way or the other. Again, the person becomes so reserved and is distancing himself from people. He drops out of activities that formerly they usually enjoy. He or she cancels appointment or meeting with people at the last minute. Apart from emergencies that will occur, you now see them giving frequent excuses. Then people begin to, more often than not, become very late and they hardly honor appointment. These are possible signs we could look out for. Then some people also exhibit excessive privacy concerning their personal life or the person with whom they are in a relationship with. Excessive privacy, which initially used not to be the case. Then people also begin to isolate themselves by cutting off contact with friends and family members. Every now and then you see them indoors or they are alone somewhere. These are some of the possible signs and symptoms you can look out for when somebody is going through an abuse. But the question is, what is God's plan, or what is God's take on abuse? Does God have a priority? Is God okay when he sees his creatures go through this battered situations? No. The answer is that God hates divorce. And many are the quotations or Bible references we can testify to that. The bottom line is that we are created to love. The God we worship is a God of love. And so therefore he has this imputed in mankind. And so therefore every man has a tendency of loving one another. So when you see a reverse of this particular thing, then there is a cause we need to look out for. What is God's priority? We realize that what Jesus Christ, when he was here on earth, Isaiah 53 tells us that when he was battered, when he was bruised, he remained so quiet. Instead of revenging, he rather spoke the truth in in love. This is the kind of God we worship. God has never made a mistake, and so therefore it is very profound and eloquent in his word. God's word condemned without any equivocation violence in personal relationship. And we can see this in Genesis 6, 11 and 13, Psalm 11 verse 5, Isaiah 58, 4 and then 5. It is the spirit of Christ to love and accept, to affirm and build others up rather than to abuse or condemn. And that there is no room among Christ's followers for tyrannical control and abuse of power. This we can see in Matthew 20, 25 to 28. Abuse or violence in the marriage and in family is very abhorrent. The Seventh-day Adventist Manual, 2000 edition, speaks about that. But the question we need to ask ourselves is this: has God acted or he has not? And we can say that God has acted in such a way that there is no mistake about what God thinks about violence. And we can say that when he created the world, in the episode of the antediluvian world, when the wickedness became the heart of mankind, we saw God descending to destroy the then world with flood. We also saw this in the life of the Israelites whilst they were in Egypt, when they were facing a hardship, when they were being thrown into hewers of wood and drawers of water. They cried out unto God, and God came to their aid. He visited the Egyptians with a plague, and the ultimate one was they drowning in the Red Sea. So God had spoken. And again, when we saw what happened to the tribe of Benjamin, harboring an abusive person, what did God do? God visited that very tribe, and they were punished severely. So God had spoken, and he is against violence or abuse in any kind, and that is well enshrined in the Bible.
In the Bible.
But then the question is, as a church, the Seventh-day Adventists, of which you and I belongs to, has the church also a say, or the church has a different stand? And I'll also say that just as the Bible has spoken against violence in any form or of any kind, the church also stands by what the Bible teaches. And that is why, for the first time ever, in the 1995 General Conference session, the then President, Elder Robert Falkenberg, made a profound statement and isolated abuse and family violence as one of the 6 major topics of concern confronting the church. He never hid this. He made it very profound. It was out of this that in the 2001 General Conference session, they voted unanimously that 4th Sabbath in August of each year be set aside as Abuse Prevention Day, and that had been with us to today. Out of that, we can say that 8 of the major departments within the church, from the General Conference down to the local conferences, and the church has issue to talk about when it comes to abuse of any kind. You can talk about the home and family life. You can talk about the youth ministries, chaplaincy ministry. You can talk about ministerial associations. All this department has something to do with abuse or any kind, and they are intent giving education to halt this things being done in our society. But the truth of the matter is that despite all this very effort that the Bible has spoken about and the church is doing continuously, we can say for a fact that abuse is still with us.
Still with us.
Many people in the church are facing abuse in one way or the other. Some have left the church because of that. Others are so quiet and they are going through the hardship. What must we do as a society? How do we flee or prevent these things from occurring and actually bringing untold hardship on what? The creatures of God. God calls us to act. Abuse and violence flourish when people do nothing about it. And Ezekiel or Ecclesiastes chapter 8 verse 11 makes it very profound. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily. The Bible says, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do what? Evil. So if we tend to remain silent or we do nothing, this act will continue and will flourish. Some may tend to ignore, but we have the right to teach people to seek proper redress. That is, those who are being abused and those who are abusing people. Abuse can continue where there is a culture of secrecy and silence. So it thrives well in those very cultures. And again, the Bible admonishes us in Proverbs chapter 31 verse 8 and 9. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves.
So then, Pastor, my question goes to the second part of our topic, which has to do with heartbreaks in relationship. I mean, I'm sure abuse can cause some form of heartbreaks in relationship. So looking at that second part, which is dealing with heartbreaks, what are some of the ways you would suggest that we as the youth, we deal with heartbreaks in relationship, or even how to prevent them if we can? I mean, not to go through those difficult moments.
Yeah, one very thing that the youth of today must know, and to avoid going through those realities in life, is for you to know who you are, identify first of all the cause. If you have ever gone through an abuse in life, identify what are the causative factors. Now, if you have identified the causative factors, then you have the chance to either isolate yourself from such people who have the tendency of abusing you. 2, you have the choice of indeed confining in somebody or probably seeking care from people. Could be your pastor, it could be a counselor, it could be a medical doctor, perchance if there are some medical attention to seek. Yeah. Okay.
I think before, we are still in 100 days of prayers. And Kweku, today is day 41, just in case we've all forgotten, and we are still in the process. So Kweku, I'd like you to do us the honors of praying for us on the 41 day, praying for the children and the elderly. Then we continue with our discussion. So if you do that for us.
Thank you. Can we pray?
Yeah.
Father in heaven, indeed you are God, and we are most grateful for everything you've done for us till this time. COVID has come and has destroyed our lives in so many ways, but the peace that you continue to give to your children lies within us, and we each day have the opportunity to give thanks and acknowledge that we serve you and you are there for us. We are praying for 100 days. We are praying for 100 days, and this is the 41st day. Yeah. And today we wish to commit the elderly and children into your hands. They are a special group of people, oh God. We pray that, Father, you stretch forth your hands upon them, bless them, protect them, grant them the wisdom that they need, and be with them amidst these trials and temptations. Take them out of this COVID problems. If they have any heart desires they put before you, we pray and ask that, Father, you answer them. We know we will not say much, but you will answer our prayers, and their prayers have already been answered. Thank you and be with us. In the name of Christ, we pray with thanksgiving. Amen.
Amen. And Kweku, I'd like to take your comments or any other additional information you have on this topic so far. Then we'll go for a break. Then our guys will join us via Zoom.
Okay, it's something that's, okay, this speaking from my thought, something that we experience a lot, especially in terms of sexual abuse. And the target group usually are the reproductive young females.
Okay.
To know how to expose your children to these people who are hovering around and are ready to devour the uncles and ready to devour the young ones. And also, if you accept that there's a tendency for abuse, that is when you will know how to protect yourself in some way or the other.
Right. So we've been talking extensively on this topic. Pastor has given us an amazing presentation on it, fleeing from abuse and dealing with heartbreaks in a relationship. We'll go for a quick break, and when we come back, our guys from home will join us via Zoom, and they'll come with your questions and comments on the topic so far. Any questions you have to ask Pastor, any comments you have, you can do that. And those of you also watching us via YouTube and Facebook, can send us your comments. Leave your comments in our comment section, and we'll read them as the program goes on. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. This is Real Talk.
On Monday, April 27, 2020, the President of the Southern Ghana Union, on behalf of the Church in Ghana and its institutions, Adventist Development and Relief Agency (ADRA), Advent Press, Valley View University, Ghana Adventist Heritage Fund, and Hope Channel donated 100,000 Ghana cedis to the National COVID-19 Trust Fund.
And commend the government for the efforts put forth to deal with the situation. As a church, we have been praying that the Lord's intervention would help. In fact, 32 days down the line, we had declared 100 days of praying. We pray that the Lord's blessings will be on you. We appreciate the good work you are doing. We hope that your efforts and the favor of God will help solve this problem for us.
Receiving the check, the chairperson of the Trust Fund, Justice Sophia Kufu, had this to say.
On behalf of the Board of Trustees of the COVID-19 National Trust Fund, I receive this check with a lot of gratitude. We thank you, and I thank you on behalf of the people of Ghana for the money and also for the continuing prayers.
Present at the presentation were Pastor Lawrence Andrews Ewu of Encounter with Truth, Dr. Williams Papo Brown of the ADRA Ghana, Nia Ite Harmon of Hope Channel Ghana, and Dr. Solis Asafo, Communication Director of the Church. On Monday, April 27, 2020, the President of the Southern Ghana Union, on behalf of the Church in Ghana and its institutions, Adventist Development and Relief Agency (ADRA), Advent Press, Valley View University, Ghana Adventist Heritage Fund, and Hope Channel donated 100,000 Ghana cedis to the National COVID-19 Trust Fund.
And commend the government for the efforts put forth to deal with the situation. As a church, we have been praying that the Lord's intervention would help. In fact, 32 days down the line, we had declared 100 days of praying. We pray that the Lord's blessings will be on you. We appreciate the good work you are doing. We hope that your efforts and the favor of God will help solve this problem for us.
Receiving the check, the chairperson of the Trust Fund, Justice Sophia Kufu, had this to say.
On behalf of the Board of Trustees of the COVID-19 National Trust Fund, I receive this check with a lot of gratitude. We thank you, and I thank you on behalf of the people of Ghana for the money and also for the continuing prayers.
Present at the presentation were Pastor Lawrence Andrews Ewu of Encounter with Truth, Dr. Williams Papo Brown of the ADRA Ghana, Nia Ite Harmon of Hope Channel Ghana, and Dr. Solis Asafo, Communication Director of the Church.
I'm still in the studio with Pastor George Kuzagbe and then Kweku Ayimedu. But joining me from home via Zoom, I have Mr. and Mrs. Nai, I have Toka, I have Emilia, I have Yaba, and I have Rosemont and Chumi. So guys, I hope you guys were paying attention to the presentation and writing down your questions and any comments you have for us. So I'll start with Chumi. Chumi, what comments do you have? Any question? How far?
I don't think I heard a lot on marital rape. I wanted to know how we deal with it as a church. Like, do we acknowledge marital rape and how do we deal with it?
You said you haven't heard a lot on marital abuse. Is that what you said, if I heard you rightly?
Marital rape.
Marital rape as a form of
yes.
Sexual abuse in marriage.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Kuku, you're laughing. Is there a reason why you're laughing? Do you have anything to speak on?
No, I don't.
Not right. Pastor, this one is for you. Marital rape. Chimi wants to know how it's affecting our women and if they are even allowed to talk about it. Because, Pastor, you know that they'll say you have to, it's your sort of like a duty to do that with your husband. So if it's sort of a duty and he's taking it, they'll ask you, is this one also rape? Yeah. So.
Well, the Bible makes us understand that when two people are married, then the man's body, the man do not have authority over his body. Likewise, the woman do not also have authority over her body. But it doesn't mean that you should do it out of consent, except that there is an issue for which reason the other person would want to say, okay, for now I don't want to go into it. Other than that, anytime, any day, why not? They both have the privilege of indeed enjoying one another. Okay. But where in an instance where one person is not able or capable, the other partner must understand. Now, if you force your way, then that could be termed as what an abuse.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So, Chumi, you heard Pastor. Regardless of being married and having the legal license, you can't force yourself on your husband. But Pastor, what about the men? If, you know, they'll say a man cannot be raped. But if as a man, if Goku says no, and the wife is like, no, we can also term that as... Because
well, why not? It's not only women who are raped, men are also raped too in marriage.
Okay.
Well, just that we are more often than not silenced.
Evie,
it's possible.
I think I have a problem. When we start from the man, they all have control over each other's bodies. I think that's where the problem comes from.
Saying that they both have control over each other's bodies?
Yes. Yeah. You're not supposed to, because I think as a person, you have times that you don't want to do this. I don't think the other one should have complete control over your body and your choices.
Yes. As Pastor.
Yeah, I think that point has been made very clear. That the fact that we have control over each other's body doesn't mean you should force it on the other partner. The Bible itself gives room that we must agree if one person is not feeling well, or probably you are in a spiritual journey, then for sure you would have to understand. But other than that, even because of seeming temptation, Bible says, just after whatever it is you have agreed on is over, just come together and consummate whatever it is you have, so you will not allow temptation to come your way.
Okay. Well, Yaba, Adobia, anybody feel? Yeah, Yaba.
So, when I was listening to the topic, and I think we're looking at it in general as to what the topic of abuse is. But I was hoping that we would look at more of how those being abused can get out of it, because I realize that sometimes people take abuse because they don't realize their worth. Sometimes they are not empowered to be able to make certain decisions on their own. So if it comes to, let's say, in a marriage, when it comes to physical abuse in a marriage, maybe, let's say the woman is the one taking it. Probably she might feel like, where is she going to start from? She doesn't have the means to take care of the family, so she just takes it. If it comes to issues of, let's say, where people go through heartbreak, that kind of taking repeated misbehaviors from your partner. Sometimes it can be because you don't even realize that you deserve better, you can do better, you can have better. So that's what I think we should be looking at in our discussions, to also tell people that they can be empowered to just make certain decisions for themselves. But I don't know if the whole domestic abuse conversation towards that line in any way, especially as a church. I'd like to hear from Pastor if you consider that.
Okay, so Pastor Yaba wants to know how people find themselves in abuse and they can't seem to get out of it. They think it's normal, they end up staying in it. So what's maybe the healing process is how you can get out of abuse, and how, if the church has a way of helping out with people who are being abused.
Yeah, those who are in one way or the other stuck in that relationship, I would want to say, are doing it out of ignorance.
Okay.
Because there are many opportunities out there for you to have yourself fleeing from that situation. One way we can help prevent this to happen is education, empowering one another to know that you have a right to leave. That the fact that you are in a marriage relationship doesn't mean your rights should be trampled upon. And so, apart from education, we'll also have appropriate bodies that have been mandated to actually address things of this very sort. We have DOVSU, we have SHRAJ, we have the police. You also have your leadership, the church leadership, to run to and to first make such complaint unto them. And so if we have sat and spoken about it with the one who is abusing you, and he or she seems not to be giving his or her consent, then why not? We admonish that you seek redress from this appropriate body that have been empowered by the state.
Okay. Yeah. What about in the church? Do you have a body like that for people in the church who maybe will feel more comfortable coming to talk to maybe you or somebody in the church than going out there? Do we have any structure like that?
Yeah, apart from the church pastor or the church leadership, we also have the home and family life. That is a body mandated by the church to indeed oversee marital issues and challenges. So you can run to those people and seek assistance and help. If they have tried their best and it's not working, they may recommend you to the church pastor, who will also do his possible best to counsel and admonish. And we see that this thing is not stopping, but it's reoccurring. We would actually advise you to take it up to those bodies that are mandated by the state.
Okay, so Pastor, as a single woman who is not married, can I still go to the home and family for help?
Why not? It is open to every church member, be it married or not. Okay. And even those who are contemplating marriage, okay, it is open to everybody.
All right, all right. Yeah, but I'm sure your question has been answered by Pastor.
Yes, because I think that's very important. I'll pay attention to that.
Yes. Daniel, Adobia.
Yeah. I wanted to ask a question, because I think my main issue is also with regards to the process in which we go through in terms of reporting issues of abuse. And I think for some years now, people are a bit concerned about the way people how people can be discreet, who are part of the home and family life, how they can be discreet about some of these issues. And also, are people in the home and family life, are they equipped with psychological counseling, or are they equipped with psychological background to be able to deal with some of these things? Because some of these things are clinical, especially from the point of view of the abuser. I know sometimes they go and then it's all about praying for the person and all that, but some of these things are a bit psychological. So I don't know what the church is doing. If there's a separate wing at the union or the conference level where they can have counselors who are well-trained psychological counselors to deal with some of these issues. Just go beyond the norm of just praying for the person and counseling the person. They need to have psychological analysis for those who are abusing their partners, so they're able to deal with the things very well. Because sometimes they end up just saying that, oh, let's pray for the person, we'll pray about it, and the issue just gets even worse and even bad. So I believe that if our family lives can be equipped or can be trained every year, those who will be brought into home and family life, if they can have access to counselors who can actually deal with some of these issues. Because when we leave some of these things at their doorstep, at their time that they even find it very challenging, only praying to God for knowledge. But I believe that some of them are not well equipped with that knowledge, and people who are really trained in that field will be able to deal with it. And I'm sure Anyibedu would agree with me on this one.
Yeah, I must say that, in fact, the church finds itself or herself in different places, and by virtue of that, have different people being its members. So in an enlightened community like Accra, where you are constituting people who forms the home and family life, then it is good and appropriate if you have such a group of people within the church to put them together as a committee that presides over such issues. However, where you don't have such caliber of people in your church, it will be difficult for you to bring different people on board to constitute your home and family life as a church. But however, that does not prevent you from encouraging and admonishing people who come to you to seek for redress or to seek your attention. If you don't have what it takes to handle their issue, why not you can refer them? And again, at the conference level, we also have counselors who handle such issues. So if it is beyond the local church and it's beyond the district, we refer you to the higher authorities for redress. And if it goes beyond them, they also pass it on, and if nothing can be done, then we admonish that the appropriate bodies set up by the government will come in and assist. So referral is one thing that we do every now and then when issues are beyond you to handle.
Right. Kweku, you've been a bit quiet. What's on your mind? Share with us.
I'm just in my quiet mood. So.
Which one is that one?
Just one of those things.
Okay, respond. I'm sure you have a comment or a question. Please, let's listen to you.
Pastor, can you hear me?
Yeah, Rosman, I can hear you.
Pastor stated clearly that God hates divorce.
Right.
My question is, do people who are being abused in the church physically continue to stay or divorce?
Okay, Pastor. Should we leave when they are beating us? Or we should stay because God hates divorce?
If the church believes in God and we hold in high esteem the words of God, then the church cannot say otherwise. However, in an extreme situation, why not the church grant what we call separation, where you can seek redress, hoping that within that space of time, we could ponder upon what has transpired and have ourselves reconciled back again.
Okay.
So it will be very difficult for me to say that the church can grant divorce when indeed the Bible speaks against it. But however, the church permits what we call separation, where the spouses go their separate ways for a moment, a period, to contemplate on what has happened, hoping that love that they began with will bounce back and they can be reunited.
Okay, okay. Emilia.
No, what Pastor said.
Chumi, you have something to say? Okay.
I wanted to say something. Yeah. Pastor said that the church allows for separation.
Right.
My question is, you know, the normal counseling, when they separate people, they go through individual counseling. They are taken through like trying to get to the root cause of the problem and all that. In our church, when the church allows for separation, do we counsel the parties or we just let them go when they rest for a while, they come back? Because truly, unless they are together, we don't know if the abuse has stopped or it's still going on. So what do we do when we allow them to separate?
Yes, whilst in separation, the pastor or whoever is in charge continues to counsel the people. Yes, well, by counseling and bringing them together and talking over this issue for a period of time, we believe by the grace of God, they can forgive one another, forget about the hurt and the past, and then get together as married couples. So you don't leave the people in isolation when they are in separation. But whilst they are separated from one another and contemplating on what has happened in the past and what has brought about the separation, the pastor or their counselor is still in charge, counseling them, having chat with them, and praying with them, that we will have a heart big enough to forgive one another, forget about what has happened, and hope that by the grace of God we can have a changed mind and then be reunited once again.
Right. Yeah.
Just to add to it, one thing is that we should also appreciate that the abusive partner too also has a genuine problem.
Okay.
So you have to subject that particular person to counseling.
Okay.
Maybe they have this personality disorders. Some may not even understand that they have those personality disorders until they see a proper psychologist or a psychiatrist who guides them into knowing that they have this problem. And with that, hopefully they get better, because they might settle it. They will say, oh, I'm not going to abuse him or her again. They go back to the marriage, then the cascade starts again. So you need to solve the problem first before you bring these two people back together.
Okay, so we have to look at the
root cause.
The root cause, the physical reasons, mental reasons, psychological, all, we should cover all grounds before. Yeah. Emilia, you have a comment or a question. Please, let me hear you.
Yeah. Okay, I would like to ask Pastor what we can do to deal with people with emotional abuse, such as silence treatment. You know, sometimes you'll be with your partner and the person's mood will just switch like that. How do we deal with it?
Okay.
Yeah, first of all, it is good you have somebody you can confide in. Silence in itself is a killer. Yes, so whilst you remain silent, you can easily die in that condition. So here you are admonished, first of all, to seek counsel from somebody you can confide in, somebody who will not indeed betray your trust, somebody who you can seek comfort from, and that person will not take advantage and also abuse you who is in that very condition. So first of all, there is a need for you to confide in somebody you trust, so that that person can lead you, have you become open and see way of coming to assist you. Now, if the person you confide in sees him or herself to be not adequate enough or equipped enough to assist you, in counseling we have something we call referral. The person should be able to refer you quickly to somebody that he or she thinks, with your consent, that he can come in to assist you in that condition. So silence is a killer. You don't need to remain silent. You have the right to speak out. And you speak out to somebody you trust, somebody you believe can help.
Can help. Toka, you had a question with regards to broken heart, I'm sure, if I'm not mistaken. Can I pick your question?
So my question is still on the abuse, right?
Okay.
So my question is, are men victims of being abused in their relationships, or it only applies to ladies? In that case, is it even possible for abusers to change at all? And in such circumstance, can the guy give more room for the partner to change, or the guy should just walk away?
Okay.
Everybody stands a chance of being abused in a relationship. The woman or the young lady can be abused, likewise the gentleman. So when you, the gentleman, you're going through such a situation, first of all, yes, you don't need to forever remain in that situation and end up dying. You have the first right of exiting that relationship when you think you are being abused. Bear in mind, you are not married yet, and nothing binds you. So therefore, you have the freedom of calling it a quit. Now, after having called it a quit, you have the right as a child of God to learn to forgive those who have hurt you in the past. You cannot forever hold on to such people as you live in the present. Yes, we are, let me say this, we are products of the past, but we cannot forever remain prisoners of the past. So those who have hurt us in the past cannot continue to hurt us in the present. We have the right to forgive them and not have anything to do with them as far as relationship is concerned.
As far as relationship is concerned, we will look at the second part of our topic when we come back from this break. So guys, prepare your questions and comments on the broken heart. I'm sure for that one, We'll have a lot of you coming out and saying all the things you want to say. Please do not go anywhere. This is Real Talk. We'll be right back after this break.
The new coronavirus, or COVID-19, is an aggressive respiratory infection that's spreading around the world. What are the symptoms? Fever, cough, muscle pain, and shortness of breath, similar to a respiratory infection like the flu, which can lead to severe pneumonia. But there's hope. You can protect from coronavirus by washing hands frequently with soap and water for at least 20 seconds, avoiding close contact with people who are sick, covering your cough, avoiding touching eyes, nose, or mouth, disinfecting touch surfaces and objects as often as possible, staying home if you're sick, and seeking medical care immediately. Remember, the Word of God says,
"So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand."
This is Real Talk. We are still discussing our topic on fleeing from abuse and dealing with heartbreaks in relationships. We've had our panelists. We've had Pastor George Kuzagbe and Kweku Ayimedu in the studio. We've had our guests from home joining us via Zoom. We've had Dorcas, we have Chumi, we have Emilia, we have Toka, we have Mr. and Mrs. Nai, we have Rosemond, we have Yaba, if I am not. Yeah, I think we have all of you guys joining us from home. Before we went on the break, we mentioned that we'll be looking at the second part of the story, which is broken hearts. But Adobia, before we went, you had a question. I'd like to take that so we continue with the discussion.
If my memory serves me right, I think Pastor was saying that when you are going through emotional abuse, you need to talk to someone.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what he said.
Yes, he did.
Okay. So last year at the retreat, a similar question like that came up, and it was like, there are some people that don't even know that they are going through emotional abuse. So in that case, how do you handle it? Because if the person doesn't have a clue or doesn't know that I am being emotionally abused, how then do I talk to someone about it?
Yeah, Pastor, because I have seen people that I think they are going through something and they'll be like, oh, it's my fault. If I hadn't done that, he wouldn't have hit me. If I had put this thing here, he wouldn't have, you know, people genuinely think it's their fault that their partner got upset and hits them.
Knowledge, they say, indeed is power. Many people go through abuse unaware because they don't even know. So as a church and a body, there is a need for us to educate our people on the things of this very sort. Now, if you know it and you are going through it, then you would know that, oh, this is what I'm suffering from, and hence I need to take a specific step to have it solved. So therefore, education must be the key. We must learn to educate both our children, men, women, and the church at large on issues of this very sort, so that when you are faced with it, you know the step to take to have a redress.
Right, right.
Yeah, that's a problem with people with emotional abuse.
Okay.
They refuse to accept they have a problem. One, they think that they are the cause of their current situation. They believe they are the one who is abusing them is not at fault. And if you don't realize it, you can't solve a problem. And the other person also thinks that whatever he's doing is the right thing to do. Both of you are wrong.
Yeah.
Because for some funny reason, they seem to hold certain principles, and they feel that when I walk out of the relationship, everybody's going to talk about it. Everybody's going to blame me. I'm the wrong person. I have to succumb to my husband when he's beating me up. Women are known to nag a lot. So if my wife is talking a lot, I have to understand and accept that it is her point of view.
Yeah.
It cannot be normal. if you feel abused, let someone know about it and seek for help.
Right.
When you're able to seek for help, you now start a therapy, and that will help you to get away from everything.
Amazing contribution from Kweku there. Dockers.
Yes, Eve.
Yes, Dockers. Tell me, what's going on in your mind?
Normal. Nothing really different. Just enjoying working from home. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I've not been going to work. I've been working from home since March.
Okay.
I'm beginning to like it.
Okay, so Dockers, bringing it back to topic, have you experienced any form of abuse, any emotional, first I outlined a lot, emotional, physical, sexual, whatever. Have you ever been in that situation?
Never. Because I must say, I'm not a type that will entertain that.
Okay.
And because of that, I've not been in a very serious relationship because of some of this until recently. Yes.
Okay.
Because I don't see why you should keep quiet and stay in an abusive relationship. Yes, so it has never happened to me, and I'm not sure I'll be able to stay in such a relationship.
Well, you are part of the few lucky ones then. Guys, we are still looking at our story. Let's look at the broken heart part. How to deal with it. What happens when you go through broken heart? Because some people do not eat, and so they grow skinny. Some people eat, and they become bigger. Everybody and how they go through broken heart. So you guys, tell me, any experience? I don't be a missus now, but broken heart today. Please, can you share your experience?
Okay, so I think it's been a very long time, so let me try and remember. But I think when I got myself in that kind of situation, I went like off. When I say off, not to say that I went mad or something, but I was acting normal, as if nothing happened. And it was a bit strange to my friends around me because they expected me to be crying or be exhibiting certain characters here and there. But unfortunately, I was actually doing, contrary to what they expected. And it was strange. Myself, I don't know how I actually was doing all those things, but someone actually had to prompt me to cry it out. And then I did, which made me realize that I was actually going through something, because if I didn't cry it out, I would be walking normal as if there is nothing happening to me. And probably, maybe I'll be there one day and then I'll just, fall off the road or something. So a friend actually had to tap me and say, hey, you need to cry it out, because it wasn't too normal for me to be walking there like nothing has happened. So everybody has his or her way of handling such issues. When mine came, I was actually normal. Maybe I was too overwhelmed, but I was okay. I later had to cry it out, and then I realized that really, the thing actually got to me. So everybody has a way of handling such things. That was how I handled mine. But I was very lucky because I had people around. I had friends around. Some people would love to escort me anywhere. I don't even know why, but I had people around.
Right.
So it helped.
Right. So, guys, I would like to ask you guys how you got over your broken heart, how you went through it, what even happened. Chewy, please, let me hear your comments.
You mean I have a broken heart story?
Hi.
I have a broken heart story. Okay, so I think dealing with broken hearts, like Adovia said, I think some of us, we just immerse ourselves in what we do best. I like the outdoors. I like hiking. I like climbing mountains. So for me, what I mostly did was I went to the jungle for like 3 days. Climbed mountains. By the time I came back home, it was past use. So yeah, and for most of us, I think for us, when we went to the retreat, that was one thing we spoke about. It had to do with your support system, your friends, the people you can really relate with, and of course, we're Christians and prayers. But that, I think it's okay.
Okay, right. Toka.
If can I? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Yaba, sure.
Yes, I wanted to make a comment from what starting from what Dr. has talked about. Let me just say this. I think broken heart just comes out of the fact that you've chosen to trust someone totally, and then that trust is broken. And so, I mean, it's not a wrong thing to do, but then when we get into that situation, it's just that painful experience that you must go through. And everybody responds to it differently. There are people who just shut down. I had an episode back in, I think, university or so, and fortunately, as Chumi is saying, when you have other things to do, that distracts you. But one of the things I'd just like to highlight is I think a very important thing to do when you are in that phase is to go through it. Of course, use your support system to help you, but you need to go through it instead of running into the arms of another person. I think a lot of times we need to learn how to be on our own. You need to learn how to be with yourself, what is that reflection before running into another person's arms. So when it comes to going through that phase, I just like to highlight that one of the most important things I think is to learn how to be on your own, be with yourself and recover. Of course, use your support system than just transferring to another person immediately, else you're not going to learn about yourself so much.
Right. Yeah. Kuku, do you have something?
Okay.
I think I listed.
Doctor, I'll get back to you in a moment.
I listed some things down before I came here
Okay.
on steps to deal with breakup and all those heartbreaks. So in general, what I found is that the first step begins with you expressing your emotions. So you feel sad. If it's crying, you want to cry. You're allowed to cry. Cry as much as you can. Some people, if you think you want to pick a glass and throw it at a wall, you should be allowed to do those things just to bring out that frustration from you to the outside, and that makes you feel better. Now, the second thing is that they say there are short-term steps. So, seeing a therapist, trying to readjust your living conditions. So, for example, you know that when I see Toka, for example, I'm going to cry because my girlfriend was related to Toka. It's better for you to stay away from him. Like those things that will keep you, that will remind you every time of your past, you try to readjust it. Things that usually you would do as a normal routine, you try to stay away from that just to take your mind out of it. And as I mentioned earlier, to also seeing a therapist. Now, the next thing too is trying to build your mental strength.
Okay.
Even though you are told to see a therapist and you have support system, people to support you every time, appreciate that the mental effort is within you. Is how strong you are is what is going to determine whether you would forget about it or not. You make an effort to move on and know that this is just a milestone in your life. There are better things ahead of you. With that, you can do with it, and also learn to build trust. So, fine, he broke your heart, she broke your heart, but there's another person out there who is ready to make you feel special just as you want to be. He's not a person. A person I take comfort in. If you were the right person, you will not go away. It's as simple as that. It's sad, but what are you going to do?
All right.
Because if it was the person, if it's the person that probably fits, or say if God has instituted that this is the person you should settle down with, he's really the person that is walking away, I'm not sure he would have gone. So when you appreciate that, you know that you will meet someone special out there. And I think with these things, you should be able to do away with breakups.
Then a quick one on what Kweku said. One thing we need to know, if you're going through a broken heart, is for you to identify the cause. Knowing the reason or the cause of what has brought the broken heart will be enough an antidote to prevent you from going through subsequent ones in the future. So we must take time to identify the root cause of the first one. Bottom line is that know and understand that you have a God who is able and ready to welcome you when you're going through such a situation. And so therefore you have a God to cry out to, you have a God to speak to, and he even gives us the open invitation, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden. He himself has gone through it before. He understands our pains and our infirmities and weaknesses. So when we, his children, call upon him, he is ready to help us. And again, you must understand, if you've gone through it, understand that it is a reality, and stop living in that world as if nothing has happened. It is real. So when you're going through it, accept the pain and move forward, because as Kweku said, you have a life out there to live. So why do you cage yourself when you're going through a bad situation? Come on, just keep it in the past, move on with your life. And as you're moving on, know and understand that as human beings, there is a tendency of having those things coming back, replaying in our lives. So that is why we need to have people who have a positive views or positive thoughts about us. You need to hang around with such people so you can deal with those issues of the past.
Right. It's quite difficult for me to understand when people say that someone has left you and you feel you are the one who has lost. No. The person walking away is the one who's lost, because
they've lost you.
Yes, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, in as much as it's simple, but on the other hand, if you have invested so much in that relationship, that is when you feel that you've been cheated, and that is where even the pains come from.
Doctors.
Yes, Eve.
Yes, please, let's take your comment.
Okay. So just building from where Pastor spoke, I'll say for me, I'm a naturally strong person. Okay, so I don't usually take some of these things to heart. But I remember one experience I had. Okay, that was right after uni, and I'm a Kumasi girl. Okay, but I schooled at Valley View. So after uni, I had a boyfriend, and he wanted me to do national service in Accra. Okay, so I was just doing everything to get my posting in Accra. Then after the posting came, I think the day I got my posting, I was just calling him to tell him that, oh, finally, I've gotten a place at Accra, and this guy will not pick the call. I called several times. He didn't pick. Weeks, months, he never picked. And I was like, wow, it was because of you that I had to choose a car. I would have chosen myself. But because of you, I chose a car. And now I'm calling to tell you the good news. I came to a car, started national service, and still didn't hear from him.
Wow.
And so I just was like, okay, maybe that's what he wants. And usually what I do is I try to be better, so that when you see me, I'll let you feel that you've lost something. Yes, that's what I usually do. And so I finally met up with him, and like when he saw me, he couldn't even look in my face. And now he started talking to friends and saying I was the one who left him. So sometimes it's how we handle some of this issue. And as Pastor said, it's what we put in the relationship. You don't have to go into the relationship and put everything in it. That's when broken hearts happens, then you tend to now be losing your mind and other things. Sometimes you just have to use, your heart, but you have to use your mind too.
Right. Sometimes you have to use your mind. Doctors, you've said it all. Emilia, I know you have something to say. Just tell us.
Okay. So according to Pastor, he said sometimes you have to assess yourself and know the cause of the breakup. Well, in my situation, I realized that I was too good because I basically didn't do anything wrong, but the person left. You know, it was really painful. Sometimes you can assess yourself and see you did nothing wrong to deserve it. That is when you have to move on. You do the things that you love, go out with friends, you eat what you love, you pray, you draw closer to God. I think that will help. Then, well, that's
yeah.
But a friend of mine had a breakup and she went as far as cutting down her hair.
Hey.
Seriously, just because that's to make her
it's
feel
me.
better.
Someone who did that? Don't you say it's me. I touched my hair.
So mine, it happened 2 years ago, and after I realized, well, I didn't do anything wrong, but I lost myself. I'm like, what really happened? What really went wrong? Because I did what I was supposed to do. I was too kind. I did everything, but well, let me cut my hair and start my life all together. And it really helped me because that was the time that I drew closer to God.
Right.
It really helped me. Yeah. So sometimes you have to do the abnormal things to get to where you are supposed to get to.
It's a process. You just have to go through it.
So Amelia, I would ask that. I hope you didn't change your perspective, being kind, being the same person. I hope it didn't change you. You know, sometimes it makes us bitter, it makes us hard, we change our attitude, we become people that we are not. I hope you are still the kind person, giving as much as you can give in all your relationships, being it boyfriend or...
For some time, or for like a year, I became very rude, wasn't looking at anybody. You can't even start a conversation with me. I was just being myself till love found me and anything.
I don't know. You think you have something to say, or you are giving Amelia fans. Which one?
Why is Toka music?
Till love found me.
Yes. Love found
Very
her.
powerful.
Yeah, Pastor says that's very powerful, Amelia. Yes. But you were saying something. I don't know if I picked right.
No, I was just saying that when she was talking about everything that she went through, I was saying that it's a process, it's painful, but you just go through it. And if you handle it well, just as she's saying, you come out, it's like you're in a cocoon and you have to go through that point, that difficult part where you're in the dirt and all that. So you bloom into a beautiful butterfly and you're doing everything you love and everything you want to do. So it's painful, but then once you're able to pass through that process in the right way without destroying yourself and realizing that you can be better out of it, I mean, it just creates a more beautiful version of you.
Okay. I'll take you guys your comments from your experiences from last year's retreat. You guys you just want to tell me all about it. You want to relive the experiences for this year because we couldn't go. So let's make it happen at the studio here. Tell us how you experienced last year's young adult retreat. I know Mr. and Mrs. Nye, the experience was good because now you guys are married. This is our success story. Yeah, Chimi, I see your face, so tell me your experience.
So you see, for us, for my church, Sapmono Estate, we just joined last year. I think the previous year was just Mano. So when we joined last year, like any other group, you go with your own expectations and reservations. So when we got there, it was the beginning was a bit like, we got there late. That day we didn't know what to do. It was raining mostly. But then we went for the first session. Then for the first session, we realized that every topic speaks to you somehow. Then everybody was now free. Then one interesting thing that happened, Rosemont spent her birthday there. Instantly we had a party. So we had a party for her. And when we were done with the retreats, for every topic we treated, everybody realized that we learned so much that we're looking so forward to this year's own, then this had to happen. And at the end of the retreat, now we are family forever.
Yes, definitely.
I mean,
that sounds like fun. Rosemont, you celebrated your birthday day. How was it? Did you have fun? Does that mean you just celebrated your birthday or it has passed?
Last year. That's last year.
Yes. Okay. Tell me your experience.
Yes, I went in June.
Yeah.
Last year.
Yet to.
The next day happened to be my birthday, and truly, who had a surprise birthday party for me. It was so amazing. Yes. It was so amazing. And after this retreat, I think the bond between us is incredible. It's very good. Getting to know and stuff.
That's one of the things that going for a young adult retreat does. It makes you a family even after the experience. Mr. and Mrs. Nye, our freshest couple, tell us, how was your experience there and finding each other and then solidifying the relationship? Please tell us.
I'll say something. Maybe he also wants to say something. But
sure.
It was my first time of being in the adult singles retreat. It was my first time, and the first day happened to be a bit some way. When I say that, I'm trying to say that I got to meet different people from different churches, and I'm like, who is this? I don't know you, But after we went through a series of lectures, the bond started to become stronger. And one thing that I always, people who don't struggle in expressing themselves with regards to how they feel about something, and there's always this tag that we have amongst ourselves as youth that SDF, we are hypocrites, we are this, but meeting this group of people, it's like I'm seeing a whole different species or breed altogether. Let me put it that way, because nobody is shy to say anything. They say it as it is and they walk away. And I've also gotten to learn a lot from them. I mean, if I need any health advice, I have people to call.
Yes.
If I need a gym instructor, I don't regret having to attend last year's retreat.
Great. We have to go. So Daniel, tell us quickly the experience.
I think for me, I wasn't even planning on going. Initially I wasn't planning on going, but because I was part of the planning team and all that. Last year I was part of the youth leadership at Prince Emmanuel, so I had to be there, and I was so really amazed because I didn't expect to really bond with people from other churches, and it's like just wanted to go and sit at one corner and listen to what's going on, look at how things are going, and see if we can support one or another, try and make sure that all the who were come to speak, all the guests who were come to speak and all that, would be able to deliver. But you get caught up in all the activities, and I think that it's very good because sometimes people shy away from some of these programs because they think, oh, we are just going to find a life partner, they are just going to find somebody there, they're just going to go come in, they're so tense in the environment, they don't want to mingle, or they're shy. They think that somebody's come to hold their hand and put somebody in their hand and say that the two of you were married, we're dating. That kind of thing. It was a free environment for people to build friendship, and I think all the sessions that we put in place was able to help us bond as a family. So as she said, we become like a family. I mean, today we talk almost every day here.
Yeah. We still have our WhatsApp group that we've not closed yet.
Exactly. So it's been a wonderful experience, and we're looking forward to reuniting together. And when we say that for those who be coming for the first time, they'll feel very awkward because the kind of bond we come experience with people like that because we didn't know each other already, and all that. But I mean, it was a wonderful experience, and we
and actually to add to what Daniel said, when we went for the retreats, it was we organized it among the churches, and we didn't really we had our main speakers, Pastor TK and Pastor Elijah, right? Then most of the programs, you just be there, we call you have to do something. So eventually became us doing all the programs, and that was also very good because you can't say that you didn't prepare. Yaba will just get up and start doing something.
Okay, you guys.
Before you go, okay, so I'll say that for me, I didn't have the experience of the chance of going, and I think I really miss not going. But I was fortunate to be part of the planning committee. I was working with Chumi on food, and like when they went, the pictures and everything, I was like, wow, why did I miss this? And I was planning to go this year, and COVID-19, wow. But it's been good. It's been good. Even chatting on the platform. It's been good.
No, hopefully we've been able to bring you some form of experience through Real Talk on Hope TV, and you guys are now remembering the fun moments you had, and we've had an amazing discussion with Pastor and Kweku here. I'd like to thank you guys so much for taking the time and joining us via Zoom. It's been an amazing discussion. Mr. and Mrs. Nai, Rosemont, Yaba, Dokas, Chumi, Toka, and Emilia. It's been amazing having you guys via Zoom. You guys have been amazing. Thank you so much for making the time to be with us today. I'm very, very appreciative. Real Talk is very honored to have you guys today. And Pastor and Kweku, thank you guys so much for coming. Pastor, it's been an amazing discussion, presentation. Hopefully we can get the PowerPoint so that we'll learn. Definitely. Thank you so much for coming. Kweku, I missed all your busy schedule. You're here with us. Thank you so much, our resident doctor. Please let us be safe out there and take care of ourselves. Practice all the preventive measures and be cautious. Go out there, wash our hands, wear our face mask, use sanitizers, practice social distance, and I'm sure we'll be fine. It's always an amazing opportunity to come your way every Wednesday right here on Hope TV. Thank you to my producer, thank you to my crew. I always say it takes a village to put together a TV show, and so I'm grateful for you guys. Thank you for staying and watching us. It's always fun coming your way. I have to go, and we'll be back same time next week, Wednesday on Real Talk. Next week will be a special one as well. You know why? Because it's my birthday. So I'll see you guys next week on Hope TV Real Talk. Have a good night and stay safe.
Okay. Bye.
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 Hope Channel, changing lives.